Here's one interesting question I was recently asked by my friend. She's originally from a conservative country, and few people know the ABC of queer studies in that country, but now she's living in Milan. She wrote me this: Sammy, I wanted to ask you, I'm watching a series Pose. Maybe you've heard about it. It's about she-males. This is translated by Google Lens. And there's a guy dating a trans. Is this guy gay?
Why are you gay?
Is he gay? I don't understand, because technically a trans is also a man, but their presentation is feminine. Then a man who loves trannies. Who is he? Some of you might have guessed my friend was asking me about the character Stan Bowes in the FX television series Pose. Stan is happily married, but he and the trans girl Angel Evangelista begin a romantic affair.
You a cop?
So what do we call these guys? Are they straight or bi or gay? Oh, by the way, here's a disclaimer. I think someone might want to accuse me of trivializing people's experiences to mere hookups.
Appreciate the hookup.
Of course, attraction is often or sometimes, depends on a person, based on a range of factors that go beyond the physical appearance and may include personality, sense of humor, intelligence, confidence, kindness, shared interests and values, and overall chemistry. But it's just, in this video, we're not talking about love. We're not talking about building healthy relationships. We're talking about physical attraction to other adult people as a phenomenon. A few terms have recently emerged in the discourse, and one of them is heteroflexible. It describes people who have same-sex desires but still identify as primarily heterosexual, like mostly straight, and I'm not doing this to mock at people who allowed themselves some unusual intercourse. It's actually the opposite. I enjoy the fact that nowadays people are not afraid to experiment. Just like I always say, everything's fine as long as it's about consenting adults. I don't think that the term heteroflexible fits Stan, because Angel's presentation is a girl, she's a girl, and Stan is apparently a person desiring a woman's feminine expressions. In today's parlance, I think it's better to say desiring what had for centuries been known as a woman's feminine expressions. Here's one case from Reddit similar with Stan's. I like women and still do, but in recent years I started finding trans women attractive as well. Thought I was turning gay for liking a girl with a I think it's just the feminine form that does it for me. Or no opinion. So I think it makes sense, but these are not heteroflexible, not those who would call mostly straight. I recently went on a hookup with a guy who just didn't mind there's another male in intercourse with him. There were no girls, just two of us, myself and that guy, and I could see that his small friend, well, actually his big friend, if you know what I mean, he was aroused. He was Randy, and Samantha so far, unfortunately, is on stage 1 of her non-binary transition, which means I do realize I look mostly like a man, just a pink-haired man, right? But I don't like to be called a man.
It is man!
So anyways, the guys I'm talking about, the one I went on a hookup with, I think for him, I was the first male with no person with feminine traits or face features around, if you know what I mean. With no person with girl presentation around. I know what it was like back in the day, like in early 90s, we would have called that person something like...
He's down for anything.
We would have described that person as he's down for anything, but in a ruder way. Something like, he's such a horn dog, he would f*** anything that moves around. But of course, preferably nice girls. So that guy was heteroflexible. He really likes girls. And as I mentioned, I noticed quite a aroused thing in some parts of his body, you know what I mean? However, later on he wrote me he would not mind meeting me again, but if some girl is going to be present. So he's heteroflexible for some reason, like it can be anything, the reason can be anything for that. So it means he's not even bi. I find that the term heteroflexible perfectly fits this guy I recently met. Anyways, I don't think we'll be using terms heteroflexible and mostly straight to refer to straight men attracted to trans women. By the way, the extract from Reddit I showed you a couple of minutes ago dates back to 2011. And there are more recent Reddit posts on the same topic that are dated 2022. It's been a whole decade and the issue is still not resolved. Can you believe it? Here's more recent Reddit post. Let's check it out. One said, "Would anyone date a trans woman if she was a 10? It means 10 out of 10, not 10 years old. All my male friends were like, fuck no, or I ain't gay, bro. Well, I just said, fuck yeah, I would, who cares? They then started saying that I'm not straight and that it's gay, but does it make me bisexual? I understand that my friends can have preferences, but I think many of them deep down would have sex with a trans woman, but just wouldn't openly admit it to being attracted to trans women." There's a bunch of transphobic comments under both 2022 and 2011 Reddit posts like, "Shouldn't straight and woman be in quotation marks?" Well, shouldn't human be in quotation marks when you talk about yourself? This year, I mean 2022, the comments are a bit different. They're not purposely trans or LGBTQIA+ phobic. If you got a dick, then yeah, it's gay. Or, it's only gay if they have dicks.
Are you a homosexual?
As I said, these comments are not necessarily LGBTQIA+ phobic. I think these people are probably sharing what comes to their mind first. They're just speaking their minds without filtering their thoughts rather than trying to be intentionally hurtful to the LGBTQIA+ community. But of course, I don't agree with what they're saying. I don't think that straight men attracted to trans women with eggplants shall be labeled gay. No way. I know that many people would say that those straight men attracted to trans girls are bi. There's many commenters on Reddit who genuinely don't understand why we cannot label them bi. It's like everything's so easy for them. Bi is a term you would describe me if I'ma say to you, I'm attracted to Matt McGorry and I'm also attracted to Megan Fox. I know that for some trans women it is offensive to hear the term trans itself because they are 100% women. They don't want to hear the prefix trans, and it's okay, and at the same time there are trans women who don't hide the fact they are biological males, and some of them don't hide the fact that they hadn't had the bottom surgery. It depends on the person. Yeah, and can you imagine there's a huge number of male people who would want to meet trans girls? Like, they're fine with girls like Megan Fox, but their ultimate ambition is to find a trans girl pre-op. It means a trans girl with the banana, if you know what I mean. I think it's a good trend in society. Some straight cis women may not like it because they may think that, you know, as though the trans girls are still in their prey, which is straight men. Of course, it's not like that. No one's stealing your man. It's up to straight men make their own choices, especially if they're not married, right? Society used to be incredibly stereotypical, not only towards women or LGBTQIA+ community, but also towards straight men. A decade or a couple of them ago, such men were probably considered depraved, immoral, degenerated, or just perverts. Nowadays, people are not afraid to discuss these issues. Many of those straight men are not even anonymous, and I swear to God, I've seen some TikToks with men who stated about their fantasies openly. They didn't even hide their faces. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of, and I think it's good that people are not lying to themselves. And some straight guys found a word to describe this orientation or this kink or fetish. It's gynophilia or gynophilia. I've encountered some videos where this word is also pronounced as gynophilia. It's attraction to what's known as femininity. Actually, Wikipedia says the term is normally being used to describe intersex and trans people, especially those who are non-binary. But it also agrees at some point that rarely the term gynosexuality has also been used as a synonym. There are dudes on Reddit who state they are gynosexuals, which is a fair enough term to my mind. The word gyne is derived from Greek and means woman or female, so it's quite familiar to most women, right? So the term gynecology also has the same root, which might cause some controversial associations. I think it's unfortunate that some men might avoid identifying as gynosexuals simply because they think it's a joke, based on the fact that women go to a doctor called a gynecologist. And even though Samantha believes it's a good idea to promote or at least try using terms like gynosexual and androsexual, people attracted to masculinity like Samantha, I do realize that it may not become widely adopted. I think these terms have more logic behind them than using terms like gay or straight or bi, but unfortunately they may not catch on. It's a shame, but let's just remain hopeful that people will continue to explore themselves and find language that more accurately describes their experiences. Why am I saying that the term gynosexual has more logic behind it than the term straight? So, attraction in most cases springs up before you see someone's private parts. Here's what one guy on Reddit mentioned. Imagine guys gawking at a girl. Then someone yells out, "That's a man!" and then they U-turn, right? Due to ignorance or societal fears. It's nothing else, but we already know that they actually find that person, that trans woman, they find her attractive. This example proves the argument that attraction appears before you see the private parts.
It means those guys gawking in the trans girl are now gay.
Nah, that was a setup. They can only be called gay if they'd learned there was a man with a dick, and after learning that, they'd go on a hookup with her.
You're saying with her you're gay now.
Thank you for watching this small scene. Samantha was trying to show you what kind of arguments, aka bigots, shit may pop up. So I'm convinced this is my scientific discovery. Please be my witnesses. I'm kidding. I'm coming to the conclusion that the term gynosexual is an umbrella term for people who enjoy what's known as feminine in other people. Put it simple, gynosexuals are attracted to femininity. Angel Evangelista is feminine. Gynosexuals would fall for her. At the same time, Jeffree Star is also feminine. He identifies as gay and male. And I think there have always been questions about Jeffree's ex-husband Nathan. Oh, by the way, before he met Jeffree, he only dated cis girls, as far as I remember from what I watched about Jeffree Star on YouTube.
Well, he's only been with women his entire life until meeting me.
So Jeffree's ex-husband Nathan, he is gynosexual, and Blair White's boyfriend is gynosexual. We'll talk about Blair White and her boyfriend in a couple of minutes later in this video. Interestingly, certain Mr. X, a man who looks like this, for instance, who thinks he's gay, but he's only searching for effeminate boys, I think he's gynosexual as well. Yes, he can be called gay because he might have intercourse with men like himself, manly man, but that would be unfortunate for him because he's only into boys who have characteristics, behaviors or mannerisms that are typically associated with femininity. So what I mean is that gynosexuals are not exclusively straight men who are into trans girls pre-op. Gynosexuals are also those people who like effeminate boys. And by the way, by this logic, lesbians who are into ladylike, delicate girls, they are gynosexuals too.
What the hell are you talking about?
I know, it's hard and I'm nearly at the point of saying myself, why can't motherfuckers just be gay? But the problem is not with the gays or with the influence of Tumblr or Gen Z. It's the strict binary system that makes it difficult for people to express their true identity and find words that would describe their attractions. Which, by the way, makes the non-binary concept a very interesting one indeed. But I know you don't want to hear about non-binary. Not in this video, okay. Alright, let's check what Blair White's boyfriend says about himself.
Obviously, the easiest word to describe my sexuality is straight.
So he says he's straight, and can you imagine a couple of minutes earlier in that video called "Is My Boyfriend Gay?" Blair said something that's actually the opposite. She says her boyfriend is not gay, he's not bi, he's not straight, he's unique. He's more than that, yeah.
Is he gay? Is he straight? Is he bi? Is he something else? I think men who are attracted to trans women are none of the above. I think they're their own kind of thing.
Okay, I think it's great that stereotypes don't guide his thinking about trans women, but you know who Blair White is. We know that she actively harms the LGBTQIA+ community and particularly non-binary individuals. In her videos, she constantly speaks out against all the new ideas that emerge within the rainbow community. She calls people freaks just because they choose to identify as zer. But when it comes to your boyfriend, oh, he's unique. We gotta invent some new term to describe you, honey. Sure. In her video, Blair also says there is a term gynandromorphophilic that some people are probably using to describe straight dudes attracted to trans women. But you know, we're going to talk about gynandromorphophilic term when I react to this video of Blair and her boyfriend. Depending on when you're watching this video, my reaction to Blair's Is My Boyfriend Gay video may already be up on my channel. Last but not the least, there's an academic article published recently on the internet and it's called Trans Attraction, Not Kink or Fetish, but a Legitimate Sexual Orientation. And it starts with this: cis men who have with trans women are a relatively invisible population, known primarily through erotica, kink, or diagnostic categorization. Well, today in my video I contradicted this statement by saying that I've come across some TikToks where cis men openly admitted to being attracted to trans women pre-op. I've also noticed that the discourse around the topic is gaining popularity and people are becoming more engaged in the conversation. There's one psychologist on YouTube, I sometimes watch her videos, and she hyperbolizes her arguments by trumpeting that virtually all men desire trans women pre-op. Well, she's sensationalizing her claims, right? We don't know the numbers, but I did watch that video by that psychologist and she was saying 99% of men would love to go and hook up with a woman with a banana. And I think that many people would deep down agree on that. This is what that guy from Reddit tells about his friends. But few people are ready to be open about it, right? As a result, the number of couples in serious relationships where there is a gynosexual man and a trans girl pre-op is incredibly small. I couldn't wrap up this video without sharing a quote from this trans activist Janet Mock. The quote was also published in the article I mentioned before. It is rare for an openly trans woman, no matter how passable or attractive she is, to have a man who openly loves her, who has an unabashed desire to be seen with her, who proudly stands beside her, despite the stigma and other people's curiosities and inappropriate questions. As I've already mentioned, I really want to clarify it once again. I'm not trying to trivialize the experiences of trans girls by reducing them to mere hookups. It's just in this video we're discussing the natural attraction that some cis men may feel towards trans girls. So once again, I really want to emphasize it. Trans women are not objects to be treated as toys, schmex workers, or simply lovers. They are real people who deserve to be respected and valued in relationships just like anyone else. Of course, if they want the relationships, because as for me, I don't want them. I don't want the relationships. Because as a lone wolf, Samantha prefers solitude, but as a woman, I am confident and empowered in my independence. It is true that orientation is a complex and multifaceted concept, and in this video we're discussing how we can use language to describe various phenomena related to human beings. However, it's important to know that language and linguistics are not exact sciences like mathematics or other sciences. I mean, words do not always convey reality with 100% accuracy. In contrast, diagrams can provide a much more straightforward way of understanding the world around us. For example, let's have a look at this diagram. It illustrates the relationships between sex and orientation. And the matrix that describes homosexuality and heterosexuality lies within the androphilic and gynophilic matrix, as these terms describe both sex and sexual orientation simultaneously. This chart also shows that one's attraction can be influenced not only by biological sex but also by masculinity and femininity, which are social constructs. By avoiding the use of the word gender, we can clarify that these concepts are not inherent to an individual's biology, but rather are shaped by societal norms and expectations. To determine one's orientation on the diagram, we must identify a specific point or location on the chart. However, it is not always possible to express this pinpoint location using words alone, as it may require numerical coordinates or other specific indicators that cannot be easily conveyed through language. Therefore, girl, diagrams can be a useful supplement to language when describing orientation and related phenomena. In conclusion, I must say I think that it's not the private parts what really cause attraction, because you may attract it to a person's hands, to a person's neck, fingers, whatever. I think the attraction is not about physiology solely, it's about energy. Like, you're either attracted to something fragile, some grace, you know, or to something known as brutal.
Everyone has masculine and feminine energy, and just as a fact.
Another video here on my channel, I delve deeper into androsexuality and explain why I don't consider myself gay, despite having believed so for most of my life. And in that video, I also touch on why the terms gay and straight may be somewhat outdated, and why it's possible for someone to identify as non-binary and also identify as gay or lesbian without contradicting their non-binary identity. Girl, please consider supporting me and my channel by buying me a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee website. You can make a one-time donation without needing to create an account or provide any personal information. Your contribution will help me continue to create the content that you enjoy and love. Just like I always say here on my channel, your support means the world to me, but not the coffee is the highest honor to Samantha, but your comments and your thumbs up are. So please, let me know what you think on the topic in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please hit the thumbs up button, don't forget about it, it's really important for me. And subscribe to my channel if you're not. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching.